Arsenal are through to the quarter-finals of the EFL Cup. With the help of a superb Gabriel Jesus hat-trick, Mikel Arteta's men showed that they do know where the back of the net is. With Eddie Nketiah also returning to the Emirates Stadium, we will be starting a new series for the channel called the Arsenal Truths, where we'll be reviewing Arsenal 3, Crystal Palace 2. Where better to start but with the man of the night, Gabriel Jesus. 3 fantastically taken goals. Let's quickly look at them. The first, a fantastic chip over Dean Henderson. Crucial stage of the game. We needed that goal and Jesus showed the composure one-on-one. A really clever finish. Now onto the second goal. A fantastic finish. The composure again, 1v1. Power, conviction, everything you want to be seeing from your centre forward. And finally, I think the hardest goal, purely because of the amount of time he has to make a decision on the finish. And again, he goes with power and it's a really neat finish. A fantastic goal from Gabby. Really proud of him. It wasn't just a fantastic goal scoring performance. Look at the heat map of Gabriel Jesus here. Dropping back, defending spaces, sort of thing you want to be seeing from your centre forward. He pretty much has everything when he's fully on it. With a solid 8.9 rating too and 20 out of 23 accurate passes completed, Gabriel Jesus again showed that there is quality within him. And that with him it's just finding that consistency in minutes played and not getting injured. At least now there is some sort of selection headache for Mikel Arteta. So I'd like you Gunners to let me know in the comments, are you starting Gabriel Jesus based on this performance again against Crystal Palace on Saturday? Unfortunately, it wasn't all sung and danced for every player on the pitch, as Ethan Nwaneri was hooked at half time. So that's the next thing we'll be discussing. Was Arteta right with Ethan in terms of the minutes he played when Odegaard was out? But firstly, let's look at that performance. A 6.2 rating, struggled to really influence the game with 31 touches. And again, his heat map wasn't very, varied in terms of his positioning. I mean, it's very obvious that Ethan has a bundle of talent. He's just ready to explode. But it's games like these where I have to reflect and, give it to Arteta for knowing not to throw him in when Odegaard was out injured. I mean, he'd make those cameos against Tottenham, he'd make cameos against Leicester and show really good signs of what to come. But as we saw today, his lack of influence on the game showed that he really wasn't ready. And when I do see comments from, our own fans on his performance today, it makes me realise that Arteta was trying to protect him. Like, look at this comment from an Arsenal fan. It's extremely difficult for youngsters at any level from League 2, the National League, to the Premier League to come into a side and influence it. And I mean, playing for Arsenal, one of the biggest clubs in the world, there's eyes and critiques everywhere. So, although we were singing for Nwaneri to play a lot more minutes and play a lot earlier, it's these moments where I see comments from fans and I see, the general public commenting on him that I realize Arteta was only trying to protect him. Could you have imagined if Nwaneri was playing really, influential minutes for Arsenal when Odegaard was out and he struggled to influence games? There would have been so much talk on him and so much criticism towards him, and he's just 18 years old. I mean, to have that much criticism at 18 would be absolutely unheard of. So let me know, Gunners, was Arteta right to protect Nwaneri? And are these games like, tonight against Crystal Palace showing us that we need to trust the development process that Mikel Arteta has? Now let's pass the baton on to the captain, Martin Odegaard. He was absolutely unreal when he came off the bench and definitely changed the game. Let's have a look at his heat map. To have a heat map like this in just 45 minutes of football is absolutely unreal. A deserved 8.1 rating, and just the way he shifted the game, purely being on the pitch and connecting, was just a joy to see. Looking at some of his individual stats, 45 minutes played, 2 beautiful assists, 42 touches, 91% pass accuracy, 3 key passes, and really good individuals as well. Martin Odegaard was just purring tonight. I think especially after the performance against Everton, where there was a lot of criticism towards our captain, he really did need a performance like this, coming off the bench, influencing the game creatively. It is just exactly what he needed, there's no doubt about his talents, but sometimes fans definitely do need a reminder that we have such quality in him, and that when Martin isn't on the pitch, we simply aren't the same. Now let's talk about one of my favourite Arsenal players, Mr. Jurrien Timber. Absolutely unreal. When Jurrien was moved from centre back to right back, he just turned into an absolute animal. I mean, Am I going to have to start a petition about Mikel Arteta putting this guy consistently at right back and never ever changing it? Because every time he's there, he makes an absolute difference. Nobody can get through him, no one can get past him, and he's just an absolute rock. I mean, I just don't get why Arteta persists with him in other positions. I know he can play centre-half to a very high standard and left-back to a very high standard, but, you know, if you want the optimal performance and optimal levels and improving that right-hand side of the pitch, then you have to have Jurrien Timber playing right-back. Jurrien Timber got himself a 6.5 rating with 2 clearances, 1 blocked shot and 2 interceptions. His heat map was absolutely unreal, especially after he got moved to right back, inverting but also overlapping to help Saka and the other players. Enough about Jurrien, it's time to talk about Arsenal new boy Raheem Sterling. I mean, it's just absolutely shocking that since Raheem Sterling joined the club, he's only started Bolton at home, Preston away, and then at home against Southampton in the Premier League, excluding the game tonight. I mean, he has a lot of quality, we all know that. Even tonight I saw glimpses of what he can show on a regular basis, but there must be something which we don't see that Mikel Arteta sees that keeps him out of the lineup. I was watching Sterling, seeing if he was tracking back, he was doing that okay, so it makes me think, you know, is Sterling just not the player Arteta thought he would be? I thought tonight would, you know, be sort of the massive opportunity for Raheem to show people what he's got, you know, try and bang into the door of Arteta and say, I want to play left wing, because we all know Saka's got that right wing spot. I mean, if we look at his stats in isolation, 70 minutes played, 2 out of 4 successful dribbles, 2 big chances missed, but I feel like the biggest thing was 35 touches. It felt as though he wasn't taking enough risks and responsibility to collect the ball and drive with it, and that's when Sterling's at his best, when he wants the ball, collects the ball from those deeper areas and runs with it, and he didn't do that enough, you know, and it didn't help because Nwaneri was next to him and they just couldn't link up at all. But gunners, let me know down below, what's your thoughts on Raheem Sterling's loan spell? Do you think based off of tonight he deserves more minutes, or is Arteta right keeping him on the bench and not using him? Now let's get on to the final talking point of this video. The cup must be won. I think it goes without saying that when you get to the semi-finals of a competition, your goal, especially if you're Arsenal, has to be to win it. And yes, I know the likes of Liverpool are still in this competition, Spurs, United, Newcastle as well, which could be a very, very tricky tie. But I mean, it's time our players tasted some silverware. I mean, it goes without saying, it's been 5 years since the last time we won a trophy, and Mikel Arteta even in a press conference did say that he needs to win more trophies. And I'll be very surprised if Mikel Arteta fills a lineup like this in the semi-final. With all our players looking towards the silverware, it's going to be a very, very interesting end to the Carabao Cup. But anyway gunners, that's it for now. I hope you have enjoyed. Make sure you've hit the subscribe button and liked the video, and until next time, peace.